I'm so glad that I'm a part of the family of God. I've been washed in the fountain, cleansed by his blood. If you're on the King's Chargers team, you can actually sing that. It's true for you. But that other family, well, they're kind of like, second cousins. They're not really a part of the team. And another thing to check and make sure you're a part of the team is to remember that rich man thing. Remember when he came to Jesus, said, "Hey, how do I get in the kingdom?" And Jesus said, "Have you followed all the commandments?" And for us, that would pretty much be the greatest two, like love God right, your neighbor as yourself, And he said, yes. And Jesus said, okay, sell all you have and then you'll be in. And he couldn't do it. And pastors always say, see, you got to get saved. You need Jesus. But see, he was already with Jesus. He needed to leave his riches. So those pastors that have been gaslighting that rich guy, well, they're more rich than him, see, because they've got a whole lifetime of hireling savings that they've been making all this time. So girls gone wild, they might be in the kingdom before some of these preachers, see, because, well, many of them have already blasphemed and there's no hope for them, see, none. They're done, because they're not looking for a king, because the wrath is coming on them, kind of like, that Halloween movie, because they do trust in Casper, and that's kind of inviting a king, because if you think about it, there's a lot of people that raise from the dead as a ghost, see. It's not really a miracle. And if he rose as a man, and he's a man in heaven coming back as a king, well, that's a miracle man right there. And he will reign as king. Literally, not spiritually in our hearts. Any ghost could bother people's hearts like that. What the heck? It's not a king. And that might be fitting with that whole race ruling soon by sword thing. So if you look again at the word prostitute and whore of Babylon, well, I've heard a lot of pastors say, that's that porn industry, they made so much money. And that definitely might be part of the game. But they might be deeper in it themselves, because, see, one thing I learned a few years ago is if you know someone and they want you to pay them for their presence, whether they're doing something to your body or your mind, they're whores, see? Ho, yo ho, like that, yeah. Well, they're the worst of those hoes that Jesus is talking about, not the girls gone wild or the strip bar girls either, I don't think. And not that I'll be at strip bars every day, but I don't think I'd mind it once in a while, if you see what I mean. It's not as bad as what we've been made to think. Because if you look how a man's built, and if you think about Adam and Eve, well, maybe the strip bar was just him. Be more like Adam and Eve. No, he couldn't do it his part, because, but hey, if the public will take the other one, well, okay, I'll check it out. Kind of imagine back to Eden and see, maybe that wasn't the worst thing, but we've been made to think, oh, look at those whores and porn industries, when they were the biggest gaslighters of all. And they might be that great apostasy if you just look around and see how many zombies keep going to those churches to get their ears tickled. Oh, those doctrines, man, they make me so comfy. As soon as I get taken to heaven, beam me up, Scotty. Well, Mitt Romney's got plans too to rule a planet, but I don't think he'll be ruling it. Just like you might think you're going to heaven, a similar thing. It just might be like that Star Trek movie with that cold blood planet with those people you don't want to live with. And then, you got to find a cave and cold-blooded life for 1,000 years. That doesn't sound like fun, So it seems like an easy choice to me to get on the King's team, because those prostitutes can be, well, I don't know, I was never really into the manly, if you see what I'm saying. But you've been going to a used God salesman, see, and it's a great social club, and I'm sure you might have a lot of friends there, but, well, it's going dark, real dark, see, because if the dark in you is, if the light in you is dark, how great is that dark? And it's not like Luke, come to the dark side, it's like, Darth, you're my pastor? Darth Vader? Yeah, that's when he found out that was his dad or whatever. I think it's a similar thing, like some of these pastors do want you to call them father, so maybe there's a Darth Vader thing been going on for a long time. Maybe that was all part of the plan, see? Starting with Billy Graham when he said, deny me before men and I will deny you before the Father. But that wasn't about a crusade. That might have been more about that anti-king, anti-Christ movement in almost every church right now. And if you look at Revelation 1 and 2, the synagogue of Satan is really big in the Christian church, not the Jewish one they love to talk about. And so if you like to be racial and be a bigot, well, then you might be stuck that way. That might be part of that beast mark, which is filled with hate and pride in your heart. Makes that seal of the Holy Spirit, you know, grieve not the Holy Spirit. Well, he grieved him too much, and then he just breaks that seal and goes away. And you're kind of like stuck like King Saul with that witch of Endor, and you're praying to that. That gets like a Halloween real quick, especially if Michael Myers is coming in wrath, like Michael, that archangel, and oh yeah, he can take out chaff. He gets mad sometimes. You know, I think he helped out Elijah a little bit too, you know, and he took those prophets down to the river to pray, and they went for a bloody swim. Well, there's a lot more of those now, but there's not enough rivers, I think, but we got 7 Dead Seas coming up, so it should be pretty fun to watch as long as you're on the right team, if you get what I mean.